All right, this is the Board of Public Works meeting. It's being recorded by MCTV. It's Monday, August 7th, 6 p.m., DPW conference room on Plain Street. Okay, so our action items. Number 1, Superintendent Job Description and Search Committee. Number 2, DPW Event Service Account. Number 3, Contract 2022-3 Amendment and Engineering Services SURF. Number 4, Contract 2019-8 Amendment Engineering Services Willow Street Bridge. Number 5, Contract 2023 PW2- Pavement Marking. Number 6 is the letter to the Select Board on the guardrail. And for our discussion, we have the 10/16/2023 Special Town Meeting draft articles. We have a discussion, crosswalks Ocean Street. On the Superintendent's report, Hills Playground update, Surf Ave construction project update, Central Lab emergency sewer main repair, Hills sidewalk phase 2, 2023 paving. Next meeting is scheduled sometime late August, I think, but we haven't come up with a time yet. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, with the permission of my other board members, we have residents here that want us, are here for the crosswalk on Ocean Street, plus Tommy has some information on other crosswalks. One has an appointment that's very important, and so I'd like to bring that first, up for first action. First discussion is the crosswalks.
It's fine with me.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna go to discussion number 2, crosswalks Ocean Street. Do you want to speak to that, Mr. Reed?
Well, no, I just,
Name and address.
Dick Reardon, I'm on 257 Foster Ave. But there was a crosswalk there many years ago, even though there's people say there was never one. We have aerial pictures of it there. That's how old some of us are. But anyway, I just wanted to ask for your support to the safety officer from the DPW. That's all I'd like.
Okay.
And there's more young people, this is my granddaughter, and moving there, and they're having young children. And you know the Mees there, right, in that garrison? They had kids way back when we had the crosswalk. And then it got taken away, never got put back. And someone said it was never there. That's a little white lie.
All right, so I can add to that, just on that particular area. I did look at it. We can bring this up at our next meeting. But from Billings, which is like 30 feet from 11th Road, and from Billings straight across, there is a curb cut. So all it would require us is to paint the road, because we have a curb cut on the ocean side, and we are on Billings is straight shot.
Right, but we have to correct that though, because it can't enter into a street. So what we can do is we'll move it over to the curb.
Yeah, I understand.
And make a cut, and then that way, if I could, I looked at it, I've been looking out there on a number of those roads.
I appreciate it.
To try to get an idea of where the majority of the pedestrian traffic comes from. The closer we get down to to like 13th Road, there's not so many residents on the opposite side of the street there as there are as you come up towards the church.
You're right.
So there's Ocean Bluff Packet, there's Westbrook, there's Second Road, Roosevelt at 5th, Arkansas at 9th, and Billings at 11th. Those are just some of the roads that we looked at. We're trying to space them. We're gonna put up these rapid flashing high-vis crosswalk. They're run by solar. There'll be a button to push, and you'll be able to cross. It will be a high-vis, so they'll see it from both directions. So those are just some of the locations. I've got some pricing on what they look like. I got some quotes. Actually, the town is actually looking to purchase a couple also along with DPW so that we can get more of them out there. But I think we're trying to recognize where the most traffic comes from.
Yeah, I understand that.
And if we can set them up, it's about, to get 4 setups, it's about $25,000 for the flashing lights and signs. And it's about $15,000 per curb cut to make it handicap accessible to meet the ADA compliance. So it's an expense involved in it. So I'm asking for $30,000 from the town to help at least do 2 of them. Chapter 90, we have some money there that we can use to do some of these. So we've been trying to get something done out there for going on 2 years now. Something always comes up, funding another project to try to get this done. So we do have a contractor under contract that can do this work, but he's not available to come back into town until sometime in September. So, and we've got 1 or 2 projects lined up for him to do, but this is another one we want to add to it. So if everything goes right, I'm hoping that before the end of the fall, we'll have at least 2 of these crosswalks up and working. And when we're done, I'm hoping to have at least 4 or 5 of them.
So, I have a couple questions, when I have an opportunity to speak.
Go ahead, Bob.
All right, so I'm just looking at Google Maps. Looks like there's a crosswalk painted at Brook, at 2nd, at 5th, at 9th, and at Adams between 13th and 12th.
Yeah.
What's missing is the one at 7th, is that correct?
Right, the old one.
I thought they were at every
No,
everything leading up to the beach.
It looks like there's one at Brook.
But they're not.
One at, no, they're just looking at the Google Maps.
Yeah.
I'm looking, there's one at Brooks, one at 2nd,
Yeah.
one at 5th, so there's three are there. There's one at 9th, so there's a 4-road separation between 9th and 5th, there's nothing. Between 5th and 2nd, there's a 3-road thing. So the question, so really what you're asking for, can we get crosswalk, you correct me if I'm wrong, at every other road,
Every other road would be great.
right, every other road?
There's just no sidewalk to get from.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Like, you
So
can't-
what
there's
you're
no
asking the
sidewalk
board
on
to do, I'm just trying to define the issue, is that paint the ones that are there, right? And put 2 additional ones in, and just make them more visible. Do I get that right?
Well, we're gonna put these.
Because I'm good for that.
We're gonna do one.
Sounds good to me.
I would just like one from my street to that.
Yeah, okay.
Because the seawall stairs are actually at 11th.
Right.
So the access from that road there.
Yeah,
is
that's,
direct
that
access.
was another thing, is to trying to coordinate them with the stairs
stairs,
off the
yeah.
seawall too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, and that way, you know that you're crossing to go to
Right,
the
to
beach
the
access.
stairs, yeah.
So,
Yeah, because there's nothing between 9th and 12th. That's 3 roads, there's the other one's 4 roads.
these sidewalks, they've all been painted this spring,
Yeah.
so they've all been done. This one that Dick's talking about though is, they've been changed over the years only because of the school bus
Roads.
pickups and drop-offs, that we've kind of coordinated with the schools to do that, so that they're in the vicinity to cross the street when they get dropped off on the school buses. So we've talked to the school about the bus stops. Are they changing? If we make some changes to the crosswalks, will they have to change their drop spots?
So the other question is, do we know what roads that the seawall stairs are?
Yes.
What roads, you know which those are?
13th, 9th, 7th, 5th,
11th.
11th, yeah.
So so what you're asking
Usually
is
odd
to have the crosswalks, because of summer people, there's a lot more pedestrians crossing the road in summer.
Right.
And coordinated with with the steps that go down to the seawalls.
Yeah, it's year-round now.
I'm year
Yeah,
round,
most
yeah.
of her street
I'm
is all
year-round.
year round now.
There's
All
people
cottage-
walking, riding bikes,
I
if the
can't, I have
weather's
to
good.
cross every day to take my dogs for a walk. I have to cross the main road to get to the sidewalk on the opposite side of the road. So that way I can walk them.
So it looks like the whole structure from St. Anne's all the way down, we're gonna look at it.
We're gonna look, I mean, it makes sense to have those, I mean, some of the neighbors may not like the fact that, that it's a flashing light maybe
So what?
outside their house, but it's more about pedestrian
It's definitely more of a
safety.
safety.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and as we get closer to the ocean, towards the ocean bluff, as we get down into Brant Rock, we kind of question how well they'll hold up in the weather down there, you know.
You probably wouldn't put them there in the winter, would you?
Well, I mean, they'd have to
If it's
stay
there,
year-round,
it's
they'd be
Oh, year round?
installed, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
If it's,
So-
even if it's painted just that way, at least it's safer to
Definitely.
get across. That would be
Yeah.
appreciated.
Yeah, no, we're working on it, it's coincidence that John, because I had just got the quotes last week, and actually I heard from the owner of the company who told me that the company that was distributing is no longer doing it, and they want to put it in themselves, so.
Let me see what that.
Yeah, they're on the state contract, so
List.
it's easier to purchase
Hmm.
through the state bid.
Nothing's cheap today, that's the.
No, that's for sure, and, you know, going with these 2x2 posts, they're
Thank you.
they're sturdy, but yet they're a fraction of the cost if we went with a 4-inch aluminum post with a base.
Hmm.
So we're trying to get the best bang for our buck, but something that's gonna last out
It's
there.
the solitaire.
Yeah, so it's important.
But like she said, I think the painting is, the crosswalk is, you know,
Even if it's not so
important,
fancy.
even if we just had a crosswalk.
Sure.
You know, and then that, if they shoot down that expense somewhere along the town, people, you know how they
Yeah.
are.
No, let me talk to Jimmy, safety foreman, who
Yeah.
does our painting.
Okay,
I'll ask him if we can get another crosswalk there. I'll coordinate, he and I can coordinate through the safety officer at the
Yeah.
police
yeah, I
station.
guess it has to go through him.
Yeah, so we'll get that.
Appreciate it.
One other question.
Go ahead.
Ocean Bluff is the only beach we have in town.
Well, we have Sunrise
We have
Beach
some-
and
I
Ocean.
understand that, but it's like, so if we're gonna do it at one place, is that gonna be a pilot and see how it goes? And
Well,
then we have to, because we have Bay Avenue, we have Beach Street, we have a lot of other roads that are down there, so.
Right.
So we should call, really what we're doing here at Ocean Bluff, a pilot, see how it goes. All right, and then that way, everyone's gonna say, oh, I want that too, I want that. Oh, and I live up in North Marshfield and I want that too. So the bottom line is, it's like, let's just call this a pilot. Have the safety officer define what the coordination would between the schools and the seawall opening. And let's just do that section from St. Anne's to Old Beach Road. We'll call that a pilot as a test
Right.
case.
There's another location at the corner of Marshall and Dyke Road. There's a crosswalk there. that we
Yeah,
want-
okay,
we
fine.
want to
Oh,
put
yeah, I
one
know what you
there.
mean.
Fine. But the thing is, we're not changing policy.
No,
We're gonna try this and see how it goes, from a safety perspective.
definitely.
All right.
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, go
It's
ahead.
okay. Do they have any data on how they hold up in other beach communities? Do other communities have these near beaches? Or,
I can look into that. I get emails every now and then where they tell me they don't give me the exact town, but they say, we just installed 4 of these units in a North Shore community. So they don't actually give you the name of the town that they did them in, but I most imagine if we asked them, he'd give them to us, and we could go look at them.
yeah, or you
You know,
could talk to
or I
the
could reach out to one
superintendent
of my
in that town,
colleagues,
right?
yeah, and ask them how they hold it up.
That would be good to know before
Sure.
they get installed.
No, I can do that.
So, Tom, you want to bring this up at the next meeting, or just wait until you get more information?
Yeah, I know Rod and I have been talking about the contractor and bringing them in. and what it would cost to put a little strip of a sidewalk and do that cut. So I think within our chapter 90, we should be able to do a
Okay,
couple of them.
all right.
I'll bring back at the next meeting, I'll update the board where we're at. But in the meantime, I'll talk to the safety officer about getting that painted.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
You all set?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks.
thank you.
All set.
Thank you
for
for your
coming.
support, guys.
Sure, anytime.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, can we go? Sorry.
Yeah,
I can go to the
I know you
bathroom so
want to go,
bad.
you haven't eaten yet. I ate early.
Sorry.
It's
No
okay,
problem.
thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Tom,
Oh,
any,
a hug? Okay.
Sure, I don't get many to
It's nice.
Tom,
Thank you.
Dick,
my
you're
friend.
welcome. Take care.
Tom, do you want to go to the ones for Rod and?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay. So Rod, why don't we do your contract 2022-3 amendment engineering service, Surf Ave?
Yeah, and I've got a revision to that, I got some lead information, I actually got the backup information Friday after I had put the recommendation together.
You should shut that door because it's going to come through.
Oh, okay.
The sound is going to come through to interrupt the video. Thanks.
Thank you.
I have a copy.
So the change is that we had $17,000 in additional cost for material that was, a request was submitted. Early on, I mean, you've seen this in your package, there was a considerable delay, about 5.5 months before they actually were, the contract was actually signed, and they were ready to go. But that put them right in the middle of the construction season, and the gas company was working away. I did work up a timeline. I don't know if you want to go over it. It's kind of, it has specific dates in it and whatnot, but I'll just continue on here. So it was, they requested, there was an increase in the material costs for their structures, their pipe, whatever their pipe was, and other costs. Because of the delay, they weren't able to place their orders, and so initially it wasn't going to be an issue. They were going to start in April, and they weren't able to start, or even think about starting until August when the contract was signed. We awarded the contract in February. So typically, these guys are given notice to proceed, they place their order, they lock in their prices, and that couldn't happen because it wasn't, they didn't have a signed contract. So they didn't really know what their status was, and this was all because of the ARPA. All this funding was from ARPA, and the Plymouth County was kind of administrating that whole project. I don't know if steps weren't taken initially, but the bottom line was that we had to wait until August to finally get, and we had submitted the first application, then in April we submitted, I think that was in March, and then in April we submitted the kind of a breakdown of the project, and they also required signed contracts too. So it was like you couldn't, it was, you had to have it out to bid, you had to have it ready to award or awarded in order to even get Plymouth County to approve the ARPA funding. And so it was kind of, we didn't know the rules of the game, neither did they. I think they were just, they got the money, and then they started trying to administer it, and they don't normally administer it. It's not like the state SRF program where, everybody knows what has to happen, and there's a sequence that you have to follow. This was new. federal money came down, they gave it to the counties, here, spend it, and then, keep track of it. So it was new to them, and, I don't think the word got out to everybody on that, actually how it was gonna be administered. So anyways, that was the cause of the delay, and ultimately, we ended up, or they ended up requesting that they install this, or do this construction in April of '23. So because it was, late in the game on August that they got their final signature from the accountant, because she held it up because she couldn't verify that the funds were going to be there when we signed the contract, because they weren't getting any feedback from Plymouth County. So finally, she got that, and we were able to get that final contract signature, and we were able to say, okay, we have a contract. What do you want to do? They were contemplating coming back in the fall, but they had other work lined up and everything else. Ultimately, they chose to come back in the beginning of April. So it was, the 5 months though was from when we awarded it to the August signature, and that's why.
That's the reason for the increase.
That's the reason for the increase, and we felt that, at the time, we felt that we could support that. The reason for the change was that when I got the information on Friday, the backup included something that they didn't do. So it was created, the backup was created earlier. I got the number, we agreed in principle, and then when I needed the backup, I noticed that they hadn't gone out and do the well points that they originally wanted to do, because there was peat and they didn't feel it was going to be effective, but they had budgeted for it, and since they didn't do it ultimately, they can't take a credit for it. So I switched it. I went and back to the engineer and brought it to their attention, because there was a change in personnel. Didn't realize it wasn't done, and we lost our project manager, Tom Molinari. He's no longer working for us. He's went to Hull. So anyways, it's less. It was 17 and now it's 11,051.79. So that's that. And then during the construction early on, they were setting up their local dewatering, and they couldn't get the water to leave the area because the drain in Hartford, and it was pitched in the wrong direction. It needed to be lowered to match the proposed drainage system that we were installing. And so immediately I went to Concom and told them what the situation was. They said it was de minimis activity, so I could move ahead. They gave them the go-ahead so that they could do it. This is the only outlet for that whole area, is an 18-inch pipe that goes down to the creek. And in the future, we should be looking for at least one more. They uncovered an old pipe in Mayflower, but it wasn't. We weren't sure where it was going. It was kind of heading towards an open lot. But in the future, we should be putting another one in, but not right now. We've left stubs off.
Okay, yeah.
So that we can just go, but it takes a bit of permitting to do that. You just can't go and put a pipe any place. So that cost was the bid price. It was $200 a linear foot. It was 170 linear foot. It took them about a week to put it in. It was a little less than a week to put it in. And that was early on in the contract. And we had told them, just go ahead. We have, it was bid priced on a per foot basis. So.
Well, that's a good explanation, Rod. You've covered about everything there that happened, and the things the delay of 5.5 months, and so I understand it. I can see the increase, and things cost more, but happens at a future date.
And we have it in our contingency to cover this. It's gonna be tight towards the end, because the police detail's eating up my budget, which we weren't really planning for. I knew there was gonna be some police detail, not every day. And, it just, but that's the cards that we're dealt.
Okay.
So,
All right,
I have a question.
go right ahead.
At the last meeting that some of the residents asked for a timeline of all the kind of mini or major disasters that happened that led to
well, I don't know about
various
disaster,
flooding and
but
stuff
I-
like that.
I do have it, well, that, I mean, I didn't really get to that detail. I just kind of, I do have a timeline.
Oh, okay.
It kind of shows, you know, from when we went to the board, to the selectmen, when Tom went to the selectmen, just kind of outlining the steps the gas company can. I don't have all the individual breaks or anything like that. I mean, certainly there was at least 3 water main breaks that people hit the pipe, you know, hit and run, whatever, the pipe goes off, and then we've got to go. There was several of those through the whole thing.
That's not on this?
No,
Okay.
that's not on that. I thought they wanted, you know, kind of a chronology of what, you know, how we got to this point, not necessarily those breaks. And
I thought it was
don't know if I
both
know
that they
what
were
this-
looking for, but
Well, I left it, in the back, I had initial schedules, the revised schedule, and then the current schedule in the back that we're working with. And if that's what they're looking for.
If somebody would be someone that wants it, they'd see Rod, and he has a timeline.
Yeah, but I don't know the breaks per se. I mean, Tom would know that more than I would.
When-
I'm
when
a little
and
bit
what.
away from the project, but this is what I had in my notes. And, but I certainly could go back to the engineer and, you know, maybe.
You have something you could share with us?
Oh, yeah.
the woman that spoke about being flooded out of her house a couple of
Yes.
times,
Yes.
and you gave her your number?
Yes, and we did install the sandbags, and we put in the millings across her driveway, and she didn't get flooded that last time that we thought we were gonna, that she would have gotten flooded.
Right.
At least, she didn't get flooded from the street. I mean, she has a low point there, but.
Which she's
yeah.
probably used to.
They didn't
But
need
you're
to,
right.
they didn't need to come in and pump her out, is
Right.
what I was told. Like, before, everything went into her front yard, and she
Right.
had to be pumped out. But now the sandbags are there. And so
Good.
they'll be there maintained until we get the road final graded. They still got catch basins, miscellaneous catch basins that have to be tied in. There's a few of those. I think they've got Constitution that they were working on, the drainage. The water main has been completed. It was flushed and tested on Friday and chlorinated over the weekend. So now they'll be flushing it and then taking samples, and that'll take a day or two to see if they pass that test. When they pass that test, then they can go to the remaining half of the project to tie all the crossroads in and the services in that area. It's like 1,000 feet. And they'll tie that in. They had a second crew working on that. I don't know if they will need a second crew in that area because they're still, they should be done with the structures or most of the structures in that section within the next few days. I'll get a better update, but yeah, they're wrapping things up fairly quickly right now. Especially if everything passes, they'll be on schedule to try to complete this, be substantially completed by the first week in September.
That'd be good.
So,
I just have a follow-up question about that. So, that the night that which was on a weekend, that she got flooded and couldn't get into her house?
right.
So 2 things about that. You had said that something got thrown into the drain that night, a steak?
I don't know, I didn't say, somebody
Or,
said.
I don't know, maybe it was Jimmy that said it? I don't know.
Somebody said that there was debris
Okay,
that got into the drain.
right, and that's what, yeah,
So there was no drains in the area, and you couldn't get the water into the drain.
right. So when she called I think she called the police first,
Yeah.
she said, and they directed her to the contractor?
I
Is that her
think they
call?
talked to they directed her to the water department,
Right.
Timmy.
It was the water department.
Right.
But that was on a weekend at night,
Right.
and so he was able to take her call or not take her call?
We have an on-call person that the police call,
Okay,
and they respond.
okay.
And they make a determination on site what's needed, and they call the proper people.
Okay.
Yeah, so they didn't really call the proper people in
No.
that particular case. They probably should have gone directly to the contractor.
Okay.
They
and-
tried to fix the,
Or Tom, or myself, and then, we could have probably got, because it was
Okay.
not the water department issue on this particular case.
Right.
It was a drainage issue.
Right.
And, but I gave her my number, and Tom, has her number, she has Tom's number. So those are the calls, probably she would have to make initially.
Yeah,
Or,
obviously you
you know,
can't do anything
or-
about what happened then, I'm just concerned about anything like this happening in the future, that
Right.
the resident is gonna be
We have,
directed to the right
there's Coleman
person.
in the highway department, if it's a drainage issue. I just got directed the wrong way, I think.
Mm-hmm, right,
a lot of times, you'll leave information, directions for the police if someone calls in regards. Sometimes if the shift gets changed or someone swaps, you may not get the same message from the regular dispatcher.
mm-hmm,
So communication sometimes fails that way,
right,
yeah,
I mean, we met with the police department, especially because of the detail issues.
right.
So they're aware of the project, they're aware, what has to happen.
mm-hmm,
And they're generally pretty good about it.
right. I'm just wondering if there's any thought going forward with another major project where there might be issues like this to avoid something like that from happening again, even if it's just a message board at the police station or something.
Right.
For this issue, call this number.
Right.
With
we
something
could-
as simple as that
When we
could
hand
work,
out a letter, if the flyers, when we hand them out, when we go door to door before the project starts, we could list the contact information.
Right.
That would be
Who to
great.
contact, 24-hour number, and all that. We could put that out there, we could put it on the webpage.
Okay,
Those are little things that we could do.
okay, those are good ideas, right.
Okay.
Okay, great, thanks.
All right, we're back to
The motion.
the motion. So
Thanks, Rod.
I'll make a motion to authorize change order number 3 to contract 2022-03 Surf Ave Water Main and Drainage Project with Dig It LLC, Dennis, Mass. For additional material, cost and installation of 170 linear feet of drainage pipe in Hartford Road for a total increase of $45,051.79 to have the chairman or designee sign the change order when the documents are prepared. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous?
Okay. All right, thanks, Rod. That's
And
all.
the change order is ready. I have the backup for that. I didn't copy everything, so, but the second page, actually, I'll put this in. Change order number 3, do you have that, Phil? Yeah. Actually, do you have the right one, Tom?
I got it.
The revised one, it says
Yes.
45,000?
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Does that include the number that you were questioning, that they were asking for?
Yeah,
Which is,
this-
it wasn't
the
much,
other
it
one
wasn't that much.
The other one was $6,100.
Right,
And so it went from the 51,000 to the 45.
so they,
Put that in.
So they agreed.
they
They agreed,
yeah.
they
Okay,
agreed
good.
that they didn't do it.
Right,
and
right.
There wasn't any other, there was a lot of horse trading going on out there. As to, you do that, I'll take care of this instead of this, and I needed to verify with them, whether or not there were other issues here, or did you get, or just an oversight.
Right,
And so
okay,
they said it was an oversight.
okay, good, good job.
Okay, thank you.
No big deal.
That helps a bit.
Okay, Rod, you have the next one, contract 2019-8 Amendment Engineering Service, Willow Street Bridge.
Right, okay, so we went to town meeting, and we got money approved to do the permitting for the Willow Street Bridge. When we got the second grant from the state, it was like over $200,000, I don't know the exact figure, 220 something. They agreed to do the final design. They did not want to mix tasks when they wanted to commit to the design only, and they said the town's contribution would be the permitting. So I went to town meeting, and town meeting approved the money for the permitting. I was here before you before to get approval to have them start preparing the drawings themselves. And we took that out of Chapter 90 because town meeting doesn't allow us to, we can't use the money until July 1. So we attempted to try to get ahead of the game to try to get those drawings in motion, and they've been working on it. But now that the town accountant has set up accounts and the money's available, I'm here today to get authorization for the permitting cost of engineering services to conduct the permitting. And that estimate was $105,059. It's gonna take about a year to get this permitted. So we take it a step at a time, and they'll be able to start permitting, once they get into this.
I see. Okay,
And I have that amendment ready for signature, so I probably will need it.
do you have a motion, Rod, here somewhere?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I got it here, right there.
Can have my copy.
You just had it here, what did I do with
I probably have it, I just need my finger.
Want me to make a couple?
it? No, here's Willow Street. I'm sorry, there it is.
Here's a motion right here.
Here's the motion.
Okay, hold that and we'll sign. Okay. Okay, I'll make the motion to authorize amendment number 7 to contract number 2019-08 engineering service replacement of Willow Street Bridge with BSC Group, Inc. for environmental permitting in the amount of $105,059. And the chairman and designee is authorized to sign the contract amendment when the documents are prepared. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rod.
Now, can I get 4 of those signed? Paul?
What's that?
Can I get 4 of those signed?
There's 4 there in the packet.
There's 4, there are 3 more, I guess.
There's a couple there, John.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're back to, all right, Rod, we're back to contract 2023 PW2- pavement markings.
That's me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. Excuse me, Tom. Are you all set, Rod?
Pretty much, I'm just waiting for a text from Ken. I just wanted to see if they had the estimate for the sewer on Central. I haven't received anything from them yet.
Oh, I know what you mean.
He made a phone call, and they were gonna try to get back to me, left a message. we estimated at 80,000, we had to go to the state for an exemption because of the emergency. But I don't have the written estimate yet for the invoice at this point.
Do we have an emergency line item?
I'm not sure how he wants to do that, but that's available.
Yeah, okay, all right, just curious.
That's okay.
Andy said it's okay, so.
All right.
Go ahead, Tom.
Pavement markings is recommendation, this is done through the Plymouth South Shore Consortium. They recommend the award be given to K5 Corporation. They were the low bidder. Let's see how many bidders we may have had. There was three bidders. Marking Inc. Was second, we've used in the past. K5 is a new vendor. We just have to see how he does. I know Jimmy had asked if we could go to the next bidder, but after talking with council and talking with the consortium, we have to take the low bidder. If they don't perform, we can do like what we did with the paving contract. We can throw it out, and if they can protest it, it just delays getting it done. But right now, K5, we haven't used them before, so we gotta give them a shot.
Okay.
And that's been the delay, getting the pavement markings on Forest and Furnace and up there,
Yeah.
because we didn't have this contract.
Bid by idea. I understand it. If we got a low bidder, we gotta, if anybody find them.
Question on the bidding process.
Go ahead, Bob.
It's a statewide contract. How does the bidding process work?
It's not a statewide contract, it's a South Shore Consortium, it's made up of a bunch of towns on the South Shore.
So everybody's using K5?
Everybody's using K5, yeah. They put in their linear footage of yellow, white lines, fog lines, center lines. Everyone submits their quantities, and then it goes out to bid.
Okay.
And
And what is the base of performance that's under the contract that would say they are performing or they're not performing, that we go to the next bidder?
if they are non-responsive,
Define. Non-responsive.
define. If they don't respond within a certain time frame, once we contact them,
Yeah.
if they don't respond, we can file a bid protest at that point.
Okay, so if we say we want the payment markers to be done between this date and this date, and they say we can't do that, you can go to the next bidder.
Yes, in most cases,
All
yeah.
right.
And then what happens with the other towns? Because all the towns are obligated to use the
Same
same.
thing. Everyone has to follow the same.
So if they don't respond for one town, for example, all the towns have to go to the next bidder?
No,
Or that
no,
becomes then an
we could
individual?
go, if we're not happy with them, and there's a multiple number of towns that aren't happy with them, then the administrator of the consortium will get rid of them,
Okay,
all right? If there's only one or two issues, they'll try to work them out.
okay, all right.
That's normally what happens.
So does the second bidder get any work?
Well, we went to the second bidder in the paving contract,
Okay.
so.
So
and-
based on ability to do the job, the low bid, and a certain criteria, performance.
Performance,
And the performance is
responsiveness.
what the town requires, where you can do the work order?
It's across the board on all the communities that are in the consortium. We all sit down.
No, but do you give them a work order?
Oh, yeah.
Say, we want you to do this type of painting,
We-
and all these roads, and we want to do it from this date to this date, and you give it to them, and they say, okay, we'll be out there at that date, and they don't show, then that becomes an issue of non-performance.
Right.
If they say, I'll be up front, well, we're not gonna be able to get out there for 2 or 3 weeks, that's another issue of performance.
Right, and, I mean, weather plays a role in it, so,
Yeah.
you know, there's a multiple amount of things that play a role in making that final decision. it's weather, it's schedule, it's when we call to get on the schedule, how many people are ahead of us.
Right.
It's things like that. So
No, I get that, and.
you weigh all the
That's not-
options.
It's not.
Right, because they can't do every town, if every town wants their painting done in
Right.
May, they can't do every town at the same time, so it
Right,
depends on
exactly.
who gets their phone calls in, basically first.
Right, and it's the same with the paving. We have Edwards is the paving contract. We tried to get on the list as quickly as possible once the money's released. So we've already got prices on jobs that we priced out at the end of last year that we didn't get to. So now we're on the queue already to get them to come in, so it's just getting on the schedule as quickly as possible.
It's kind of crazy the way they do it.
Yeah, it's
You know,
just,
I mean, the other
And then the
vendors
rain.
just kind of, they don't get any work scheduled
Right.
initially,
right,
unless you,
There's a lot of towns that they wait, and then they'll, in September or October, they're saying, oh, I need this road paved and this road paved.
right, but they're not even on the
Well,
schedule,
we're straight out until the end of November,
right,
and you may not get it this year, you may have to wait till the spring.
right.
Do those towns, can they go to the next bid if they can't, the
Well-
contract can't perform?
They could, but in most cases, you want to stay with the person we have because they're known in the field as the best. The other guys, Aggregate and Rochester Bituminous, they don't work well with the group. So over the years, those are the companies you have the most issues with. You know, and Edward seems to be the most responsive, but you gotta wait your turn.
But also, if a town didn't get their requests in, if they waited and didn't get their requests in, the consortium's not gonna
Right,
tank the whole, the company because that town
right.
didn't do
Well,
their
they
job.
have private work too, they're not just waiting on us.
Right,
They have all kinds of private work they do too, they have state work they do.
right, yeah,
So they're not short of work.
I'm sure,
It's getting in the schedule at the right time,
yeah.
that's the key.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
any other questions?
Interesting.
We're all set? Tom, do we need a vote on this? It says, voted to award contract is,
I would just make a motion to award the pavement markings contract for FY '24 through the consortium.
okay, I make a motion to award the pavement marking for fiscal '24 to the, as advertised, the South Shore Consortium. Is that correct?
Yep.
Do I have a-
2K5.
2K5.
2K5, thanks, Bob. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Right.
Aye, okay.
Okay, so that was,
You need to sign, Tom?
Aye, oh, I didn't say aye.
I'm sorry.
no, I just want, yeah, this one, I just want to make sure I get this. Motion by GC, second.
Oh, no, I just wanted the door shut.
oh, okay, sorry. that was
Only
your fault.
because I've noticed on the
It was
videos
ringing
that
off a
the
long time.
noises, like the outside noises, do interrupt the ability to understand what people are saying on the video, so.
We don't say it.
You all set with me tonight?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're all set, thank you, Roger.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so that one,
Tom, do you want this?
yeah, I'll fill that one in there too. I think that's what I have to do.
Okay, yeah.
Great.
Okay, let's see where we're at, with the, yeah, you all said, we've got the letter to the select board on the guardrail.
You want to do that next?
Yep.
Yep, that's our next one.
All right, that's me. Okay, so I sent an email today. Did you both, Bob and John?
Yep.
Were you able to read that?
Yep. Yeah, I have a copy right here.
I don't know, Bob has to leave for a second, so let's wait till he gets back.
Yeah, okay.
We didn't do number 1 and number 2. Oh, we're gonna get to those. We're gonna go back up. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's all right.
Okay, yeah. Well, we can get this over with.
Okay.
That's a good letter.
Were you able to read the, email I sent today?
What time did you send it out?
I sent it this morning, sometime early this morning.
No, he's busy all day, sorry.
All right, I can read the whole thing.
No,
It
yeah.
won't take
Yeah,
long.
I can give him a
I
copy.
can look it up right here.
You want a copy, Bob?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I had sent a letter specifically to both,
Send it to Tom.
yeah, I mean, I sent it to Tom to send, obviously, of course. And then it included an attachment with the letter to the select board.
Correct.
Okay, so I guess I'll just read the letter to the select board.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is based on the conversations that we had.
Yep.
And as I said in, is it in here? Because my thing is not loading.
You want this?
Yeah, I'll take that, thanks. So, well, in my other letter, I just talked about our great teamwork and asked if, we could all kind of stick together and support the department around, some of these issues that seem to be
You did.
trying to kind of divide the teamwork that I feel like we have gotten
No.
pretty good at. So, the letter to the select board,
No.
this is the draft letter. So, as you know, the current Board of Public Works voted 2-1 to restore the guardrail configuration in front of the DSA to its previous layout, which had been in place for many years. The board members voted this reversal because the work which was contracted for and voted on by the previous Board of Public Works did not include any plan to move the position of the guardrails and thus create a new opening to this site. Replacing the guardrails along Drybeck Road with new guardrails was the extent of the project presented to the Board of Public Works, previously voted on and approved. In the years since the Board of Public Works approved the contract for the guardrail replacement, the project came up in several meetings. However, changing the position of the guardrails and creating the center opening was never discussed with the board, nor was it voted on. This fact is verified by meeting minutes, meeting videos, and board member statements, which are also reflected in meeting videos. In February of 2023, the guardrail project was somehow altered during installation and a new center opening was made without Board of Public Works approval. The center opening created a steep drop-off. The steep drop-off would necessitate significant fill be added in order to achieve an even and securely graded ramp. The steep drop-off in the center opening made it difficult for vehicles to pull out onto the road in a smooth manner and appropriate speed. Additionally, the fill needed to build a securely graded ramp would have created an issue of ongoing maintenance for the DPW, requiring the DPW to access funds and labor hours to sustain the ramp. Furthermore, the material added to create such a graded ramp would likely migrate over time, which would violate zoning laws by impinging upon the coastal wetland zone where no fill is allowed per Marshfield town bylaw. The prior Board of Public Works had approved the project and bid for replacement of the guardrails only. Board of Public Works cannot allow the DPW to become involved in the ongoing maintenance of an unapproved center opening, as this is a misuse of DPW labor and funds. The change made by moving the position of the guardrails to create a center opening of the site is in violation to Marshfield Town Bylaw. It is the sworn duty of the Board of Public Works to uphold Marshfield Town Bylaw. 2 members who voted to restore the guardrail configuration in front of the DSA to its previous layout voted such in support of their responsibility to the town of Marshfield citizenship and bylaws. The Select Board has allowed this dirt area to function as a parking lot for Harbor Park visitors and commercial events, despite the fact that Marshfield zoning bylaw does not fully support a parking lot at this site. The harbor master has directed visitors to park at this site via Harbor Park parking sign, despite the fact that Marshfield zoning bylaw does not fully support a parking lot at this site. The board members received the safety officer's letter dated June 2nd, 2023. Board of Public Works would like to note that the previous opening was apparently there for decades with no known problems. While there are some reasonable points in the letter to support an opinion favorable to the center opening, the original opening has had no safety issues and has an established secure base without the need for ongoing maintenance. Additionally, as opposed to the center opening, the original opening location reduces traffic over the crosswalks since no vehicle entering and exiting from the north drives over any crosswalk. The center opening required that vehicles must drive over a crosswalk in both directions. The center opening has the potential to encourage pedestrians to actually cross the street via that opening, rather than walking a greater distance to either crosswalk in order to utilize them. Center opening created a less safe flow of traffic within the site, since vehicles could turn left or right when entering. The original opening allows entering vehicles to turn in one direction only, thus giving pedestrians inside the area a clear sight of vehicles as they enter, with surety about which direction the vehicle will be turning. The safety officer's letter states his observations of the width of the original opening to be 24 feet and the center opening to be 40 feet. He does not state in what manner his measurements were taken. And in any case, these measurements are incorrect, and the original opening measurement is certified by DPW staff at 30 feet plus. The safety officer's letter also states that, quote, observations should be taken into consideration when designing the safety of the lot, end quote. The Board of Public Works is not designing the safety of the lot. The Board of Public Works has gone on record stating they consider this site to be the dredge spoils area. The Board of Public Works has agreed that the town may need this area to receive future dredge spoils. Until such time as the town of Marshfield and the state agree on a change in use in line with all Marshfield bylaws and state laws, the Board of Public Works do not endorse this site be used as a parking lot or for any other use other than for receiving dredge spoils.
Yeah.
Therefore, it is the position of the Board of Public Works that any possible liability at this site is the exclusive responsibility of the Town of Marshfield Select Board and Harbor Master, for they are the parties who are directing visitors to park at the DSA site. So, this has been the third, I think, discussion about this, so I've worked really hard to make sure I include my thoughts on it, all of the facts from all of the meetings, Bob's concerns about the dredge spoils area, our unanimous opinion that it's a dredge spoils area and we didn't support it as a parking lot, and John's comments about the center opening being used, which incidentally I've seen people do because I drive by there all the time. They just, when it was there, they just walked through it. So I really would appreciate if we can come together as a team and sign this, the three of us, which is really just, it's a factual statement. Everything in here is true and real and all based on all of our stated statements in meetings and discussions. And I think it's important in my letter, that I sent through Tom, I really feel very, very sincerely about the fact that I want us to, come together as a team and support the department not being manipulated into, doing work without that we shouldn't be doing without payment. And I don't want us to be manipulated into arguing and disagreeing on stuff that is factual. So I really hope that we're all three going to sign this letter.
Well, thank you, Diane. I think that's an excellent letter. Thank you for your hard work. You hit every point that I could think about. The old opening has been there since, I believe, since it's been used as a staging area in 1985, and I don't see that there's been any problems whatsoever.
That's been verified through the police department also.
So yeah, I'm in favor of that. That I will sign it. Hopefully, Bob will make a comment and perhaps,
And then we can just move on from this.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should move on with this. I mean, originally I did not sign it. I wasn't in favor of it because there was a safety officer and town council that said that we should not put it back to where it was. I do agree with a lot of things you did. I want to thank you for putting it all together because it is a dredge spoil site. It's never a parking lot. I don't think it should be a parking lot. And I'm glad you put that in the letter, but I don't want to sign it because I didn't vote for it in the beginning. That's my position.
Yeah.
But I do thank you for putting the component that this board doesn't look at it as a parking lot at all. And I agree with that. But it's different than, I'll go on record as saying it's not a parking lot, it should never be a parking lot. And that, but I was not in favor of moving the entrance. So I'm in sort of a crossroads here.
Well, this is
And I-
only to address the liability thing. It really
Yeah,
doesn't,
right.
it's not saying that you
Yeah.
voted to move the entrance or
No.
didn't.
So-
It does say that it was 2 to
So
1.
it was 2-1, so I think
Right,
that you,
that's
and, I
clear.
think you and John, I'm okay with it, but
Yeah.
you and John sign it, but I'm not gonna sign it.
Okay, I mean, it's your choice, obviously,
Yeah.
of course. I don't understand why, because this is just a response to the, you're gonna be liable for being sued if somebody gets, that's what this is on. This is not on the moving of the actual vote. It's not on
Well,
that.
I never voted for the beginning, so, I mean, you and John have, and I respect your point, because everyone has their own point on it. And I appreciate the effort you put into it, to do it, but I'm not gonna vote, I'm not gonna sign it,
Okay,
all right?
All
all
right,
right, your choice.
so.
You
can
can
we-
send it, I'm not gonna sign it.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Can we take that letter and give it to,
I think this should be coming from the board, because I don't think staff supports it. So it should be a letter that comes from the board and not from staff.
I knew that. I wasn't asking you.
Right, but who actually sends the email or?
Or
the letter?
I
Yeah.
wanted
It
to
would
get,
have to come from the board.
So you would sign it, scan it, and John Kuzak, as the chair of the Board of Public Works, would send it.
Oh, so an actual paper letter?
What?
Not an email, you're
Yeah,
saying?
you could do a letter, you
I
could do
think you
both.
should do a formal letter.
Do a formal letter and send it
Alright.
to the board.
I mean, we received the safety officers.
Well,
For-
however you
for-
want,
for-
however you
everything else
want to
was
do it. If
email.
you want to send it as an email, that's your prerogative.
I think a
mean, I
formal
don't-
letter would be a
I don't
formal stamp on it.
yeah, we can have.
It doesn't matter to me, everything else went by email, so I don't, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, maybe it's a moot point at this point, because it's been so long. We've talked about it several times, you know,
So,
but I don't know.
Well, could we just take that letter and put it in a Word document?
put a letterhead on it
Put-
and just go from there.
Put our names on it and send it to them. I'm not worried about anything, I just send it to them, that's all. It's a good letter, explains everything.
Yeah, and I thank you for putting it together. I mean, it explains it. So, I think we should just get on with the rest of it and put that behind us. We've got a lot of other things we got to go talk about.
But now,
Okay.
Tom, can you have this staff put that in a Word document and put our names on
I
the
mean, I
bottom?
have it in a Word
She
document.
doesn't,
You could just print it off and send it in a.
I have not read that letter. I was told by the previous recording secretary that she received an email that I was not to see that draft
I
letter.
sent this to you.
You sent it to me today, but
And I-
the previous letter that you sent, you specifically told the recording secretary not to share it with me. I have the emails. I have the emails.
No, I did
I
that.
don't think that
You
I,
specifically
I
told
did.
her not to share it with me.
Diane, I did that.
well, you did what?
I did that when the, there was a draft letter that originally came out, and it was shared with the town council, who made comments and opinions on the
Right.
draft letter. So I didn't think that was proper. So I added the next change to that, to another letter. That was a draft letter. So I put my comments as to the center opening not being safe because it didn't have a crosswalk, and residents would use the center opening with no crosswalk. I did say to Anne Marie not to share this with the superintendent. I also sent her a second email to say, yes, you can share it with the superintendent, just don't share it with the town council. So,
I think that's a direct violation of my contract because I am the representative of this board on the day-to-day operations, and when I get a draft letter, I have always shared it with town council to make sure that it's legal and that the points being made are actually the factual. And so I do that with everything I get. And by not being able to do that this time, it makes me think that this is a propaganda letter that's based on your own personal opinions and not factual law, bylaws, or votes that were taken by zoning, planning, or any other department.
all right, let's just put this in we'll put this in I could put it in can you put it in a Word document?
Mm-hmm.
Bring it over, we'll sign it, and send it to the selectmen.
I, when that happened, Tom, and we got that response from Attorney Galvin, it was really, really upsetting because, as you know from the emails, I had sent the wrong draft to Anne Marie. So he was commenting on something that I wasn't even submitting for the board to look at. So that was embarrassing to me. And I don't know the procedures. And I told her
That's why I'm
in
here.
the email. Right, but I didn't, I was instructed to email Anne Marie with stuff for board meetings.
For board meetings, right?
Right, and that was for a board meeting, so that's why it went to her. So whether she's, her process of sending it to you, I assume that happens. I
She told
don't-
not to share it.
I didn't do that. I sent.
I have emails that state
That was after the fact.
That was after.
That's okay.
That was after.
That was
It's still a
after-
point. Still,
Yeah, I know.
I still told her not to share a document with the
Yeah, but
superintendent.
not that document.
No, I didn't. I
Okay,
said,
all right.
I said, is this,
Well, let's
I
move
mean, I'd
on,
have
because
to
I
look at
think
the
we
email, but-
agree to disagree. So we can move on from this, and you can take care of the letter, and we'll go from
Diane, you didn't direct it, John directed it.
I didn't make that statement.
there. Okay.
Right.
But not on the first draft letter.
Right, but I didn't make that statement.
Not on the first letter, no.
I don't think you,
I never made that statement. I think I asked her,
Not
Is
to
this
share it
something-
with me. I have an email that states that.
I'm sure that I didn't say it like that. I'm sure I
Okay.
asked,
All right.
is this, standard? Like, do you have to do this, or is it sent to the person I addressed it to?
No, that's fine.
Because I don't know what the procedures are and
You
what's
should
required.
ask. You should ask.
That's what I was doing by asking Anne Marie.
Okay, but I'm also here to answer your questions also. It doesn't always, you don't have to go through Anne Marie, you can go through me.
Right,
I
that, it
represent
is,
you on a daily.
it is a
on
little
daily
confusing
operation.
because in other times I've emailed you and you've told me to email Anne Marie about things. And then other times I've emailed her and
For
she said,
agenda items, you email Anne Marie, anything else you can ask me.
all right, well, this is all new to me. So
Okay.
I don't know where,
Okay.
which items I go directly to you for. I mean, I know resident things I go to you for. That has been made really clear, so that's what I do. But other stuff, board stuff, this kind of stuff, I sent to you at one point and you said you have to send that to Anne Marie. And then at one point I sent something to her and she said you have to send that to Tom. So I'm figuring this out as I go.
If you have questions, just ask.
Okay.
Anne Marie's not here anymore.
But, yeah, she's not, but, right.
do we have a secretary coming?
We
Is it put it out to
posted
bid?
it.
Has there been
Anybody
any interest in
bid
it?
on it?
We'll post it as a part-time position, that's under my superintendent's report.
Okay, well, we'll send a letter to the 3 selectmen from the board,
Is that gonna be a vote of the board to do this?
send a discussion, but we can, where is it? Letter to-
No, it's under
No, it's under action
Sure,
items.
sure, we'll take a vote.
So I'm looking at the email right here, and it's to Anne Marie, and it says, "Hi, can you please email us to John and Bob for tonight? I'm sorry, I was just able to get to this now." It doesn't say anything about don't send it to
Okay,
Tom.
thank you.
Well, that's what it says.
I'll go back and look at my emails.
Are you talking about tonight's, this?
No, the previous letters.
Well, the original letter, you took a draft and sent it to, which was the incorrect draft, and you sent it to Galvin for an opinion. My opinion of that is, you wouldn't have an opinion on a draft letter because it's gonna be changed. It was to the board to make comments to.
I saw a draft letter. I didn't agree with some of the comments that were made in it, and I asked town council for his opinion. That's why I sent it to town council. It was a draft, so I could have commented on it.
Yeah, you should have.
I should have, but I didn't because I was told not to. So I didn't pursue it any further.
No.
All right, well-
No.
Okay.
The draft letter went out and it was sent to Galvin.
I
for
sent it to
comment.
Bob Galvin to review, to find out
Right.
if it was
Right.
accurate.
Right, but you could have commented on that without going to Galvin, but saying that some of the things in here that need
I
further.
could have, but I wanted to have the backup from council.
I understand both perspectives, and honestly, it's my fault for not paying attention and sending the wrong thing in the first place. But this is the email that I sent to Anne Marie after we got the letter from Attorney Galvin. I said, she wanted me to scan it, and I didn't have a scanner. So, and then I just said but also it's not done, and the board will complete it. And it was actually upsetting to have it circulated around when it was the wrong letter to begin with. I don't know if this sharing is required, but in the future I will state that I do not want emails shared with anyone other than who I ask them to go to, and hopefully this kind of thing will be avoided. I'll also, of course, be more careful. I'm sending the correct documents, and again, I apologize for sending the wrong one. Please do not share this email with anyone other than who it's addressed to. So I never intended to freeze you out on anything, but it was just really upsetting to get that, long dissertation from Attorney Galvin on stuff that I knew wasn't correct to begin with anyway. That I had made several drafts. Like I just put all my thoughts in it, made a draft, then looked into it more, made another draft. I had like 4 copies of it, and I sent the wrong one. So
I didn't know you sent the wrong one. I read an email that I didn't think was accurate.
I understand
And I
that.
asked council to review it and give me his opinion.
Right, so-
And that's what he did.
Right, so it's my fault for sending the wrong one, but I just want you to know that I never instructed her to not send anything to you.
Okay.
And I asked, what is the proper procedure, like what's required, how is it supposed to be done?
Okay,
Okay?
all right, so we need a vote to send the.
I'm
letter.
so over this now, though. I don't even think it's an issue anymore, because,
So what would you like to do? Tell me.
I don't know,
You want to table it for the next meeting?
that's just, yeah.
All right, we'll table it for the next meeting.
Maybe the select board will just watch this meeting. You don't have to send
Well, it's a
anything.
nice letter, right? It spells it out. Yeah.
I mean, what, I guess, is the opinion of answering that liability claim? Does it need to be answered at this point?
Well, that letter spells it all out. Spells out everything.
Okay.
So if we want to send it or table it, whatever.
All right, well, I guess we might as well send it.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we send the letter to the selectmen as written and, whatever.
Okay, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstained.
Okay. I understand.
I'm not voting against, I'm just abstaining.
I understand. All right, let's move on.
Yep. What do we got here now?
Number one,
Discussion of the town meeting article. Oh, yeah, number one on action
Yeah,
items.
the superintendent.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Superintendent job description and search committee. You want to do the search committee first?
Sure, I do.
All right.
I would
So-
like to go through the whole process first.
I mean, we do have to do the whole thing, right?
Yeah, but I can go to a search committee first, right?
Well, I'd rather go through the whole process first.
Okay, is it all in one full, is it,
I,
it's nothing in
But,
there?
well, if I'm the
I
chair, if I'm the chair and
Okay,
I
fine,
say I
you can
want to
do it,
go
okay.
to the
I
search.
wanted to go through the whole process so that we have a total process, and I spent the last week on trying to put this package that's in front of you.
Oh, that's this
Right,
from you, okay.
so I wanted to go through the whole process before we vote or discuss it, so that you have a holistic approach of how we should approach this,
Okay.
all right?
But we have a search committee too.
We do, it's included in all this. So I wanted to talk about the whole process,
Wait a minute.
all right? So the first part is.
All right, I would like to
Wait.
look at this if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
So
okay.
if I can go, I'll tell you exactly what I did and why I did it, and why I think it's important that we do that,
Okay, fine
okay?
with me.
Okay, so the first one is the advertisement that Dan Bowen had sent us when we first talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
all right? And it was a draft.
Mm-hmm.
So it was okay until the third paragraph. All right? He had his Bachelor of Science degree in engineering or related field required, and a master's degree preferred.
Okay,
I added in because the superintendent of public works is not just an engineer. It's a manager.
mm-hmm,
So I added in all public business administration or related field is required.
mm-hmm,
So it opens up the universe of candidates, that someone that's been doing construction, superintendent's type of thing, that although it doesn't have necessarily it might have engineering technical, there's different, there's engineering, there's civil engineer, there's environmental engineer, there's mechanical engineer. David Carey was a mechanical engineer. There was a whole,
Marine.
huh?
Dave was marine engineer.
Marine engineer, but there's mechanical.
Right.
Mechanical. But there's a whole gear in that.
mm-hmm.
So I thought that, the engineering is good, but the thing is, when you start getting into budgets, you start doing grants and you start doing all that stuff, that's more public administration stuff.
Right, so that, just engineering isn't specific
It's
enough.
not, no, if we wanted to hire an engineer, we should hire Tom Casino.
Mm-hmm,
He's a town engineer.
Mhm.
So I wanted to open that up for the universe of people out there that may want to even apply.
All right, so.
That makes sense to me,
I got
yeah.
that, I got that.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Okay,
you want to move on?
so then the other is the salary range was 132, I think, and Tom told me it was 142 to 152, so I corrected that.
Okay,
Everything else is exactly the same as what you saw before. Those were the ads and the reasons why I wanted it.
I have a question about that,
Sure.
about this position is 40 hours per week. So isn't this technically a person who has a truck that they take home
Yeah.
and are available
Yeah.
in emergencies 24 hours a day?
That's what
So,
that's the additional, the position is a 40-hour per week and requires availability of night meetings, all emergency situations,
Okay,
so
all right.
nice. It's all in there.
all right, okay.
So it's
thanks.
basically, it's 40 hours a
Yeah, you
week
call.
plus.
Okay, so that covers that. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
Okay.
Tommy, can you turn the heat down? It's cold here.
Oh, thanks.
Please.
Raise the temperature is what you really need to do.
I don't know if I can.
Just raise the temperature. Okay.
All right, I just want to.
So nothing else changes?
Okay, so that
So
was
that's
the,
it. So
okay,
then-
that's
so then-
good.
So then the next 4 pages, along with um, the 4 pages after that, these here. You take this part and this part, okay?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
You take the two as 2 separate items, all right? So I had talked to Tom Reynolds, who gave me a list of what he thought a good superintendent would be, right? And that's what these attributes are here. You have to, this here, and it gives you all the knowledges, all the abilities, all right? It gives you the minimum, it gives you the duties, it gives you the technical, the government, and all that stuff that was handed out before.
Right.
It's all included in this document here. So then I took this document with all these attributes and included that back into what Dan Bowen gave us on the first meeting.
Okay.
All right, and I'm gonna show you how these two are related.
Okay.
Okay, so the first set of duties is a statement of duties, is pretty much right on what was the original, what Dan gave us. The second is the supervision required, same thing. And I didn't change anything in the first page of that. Second page, I didn't change anything because it's what HR does. And they put all this in a grouping for, judgment, complexity, work environment, nature and purpose of public contact, occupational risk. And then the third page is what I've changed, all right? And what I changed was, I added in the first grouping, is 1 through 5 were in the original. I added in 6, 7, and 8. All right? Under 6, oversees contract procurement and administration. That's key. You gotta know the chapter 30, 30AM, you gotta know chapter 30B, you have to know the chapter 149, and you gotta fall within all the procurement laws, especially when we just had an emergency, and you need to get approval for not following the procedures to do that. So that was not in this, so I added that into it. The second part is grant development and management. Tom's been very good about going after grants, both on the federal and the state level, and how to manage that. There's a lot to it. The previous description didn't have that at all, so I added that back, added that in. And the third is that there was no discussion on enterprise financials and operations. This board has been somewhat of a discussion about indirects and how to deal with enterprise issues. I wanted to make sure that it was in the discussion, so I included that in there. All right. The next one is the education experience. We used to be 5 years. We bumped it to 10 years. All right. Then the knowledge. Then on the next group is knowledge, abilities, and skills. I added in the section. It says thorough knowledge of wide range of public work operations, practices, and techniques, including but not limited to street, road maintenance and construction, stormwater and drainage systems, municipal water and wastewater systems, building and grounds maintenance, solid waste operations and cemeteries. Knowledge of public works functions and other programs such as asset management, safety programs, federal and state grant and loan programs, public purchasing and procurement law and regulations, town meeting procedures and processes, and enterprise financial operations. I added that section in because it wasn't there, and I wanted to make sure it was there. So I wanted to go through that process. The page 4 is basically the only thing what I added was the grant development and management skills was a component for skills, because whoever becomes a new superintendent really needs to be looking, make sure that the town of Marshfield gets its fair share from grants.
It's a big thing.
It's a
More
big
than
thing.
it was a few years
It was a
ago.
big thing. So I wanted to make sure that at least the job description that's included in it.
Right.
Okay, so if you wanted to cross-reference all those things, they're all in here about under management, and there was that previous thing that we had put together, we discussed before. That's all in here too.
Okay.
So what I did was to expedite this, I wanted to make sure that what we had seen before and all the things that we had under management, under operations and those things is included in this.
Okay.
All right, so this would go to HR.
Yeah, so this whole thing up to
Right,
this
right.
page.
So the advertisement and this would go to HR so that they could put it up, that they could start advertising it.
So when
Correct.
people see this job listed,
I'll be right back.
they're gonna see this first
They'll see it,
page,
right.
and then they're gonna be able to go through all of those requirements.
Good
Yeah,
job.
right.
Right, okay, good.
Okay,
That's good.
so the second, I'll wait for John to come back.
No, go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
So basically, the next grouping that I did, so if you look at this page that says 2021 documents submitted to the Board of Public Works,
Okay,
all right, you can see what was done before. And you can want to go back and cross-reference.
oh, this is the old one, this is the
Yeah,
new
right,
one?
right,
Okay,
yeah.
no, I totally trust you, I think
No, I
it looks
understand, no, but I
awesome.
wanted to be truth in lending, so, so then
Right.
if you see the draft duties, you can actually see what was done before, what we got before.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure that you understood why I added it and what was there.
Okay,
And then this piece here, this management document, that's all included in that other
ideal,
one.
the
Yeah,
ideal
you're right.
qualifications, okay.
So I wanted to make sure that was there. And then there was a superintendent selection process, which is
Okay.
the next grouping,
Yep,
right? This was given to us in the previous package with Anne Marie, but it didn't tell us enough. There was something missing here.
okay,
So I went back through all my records and got the actual, what we did in 2011.
okay,
And
Because that wasn't in there.
And basically, this here is the 2011 Selection Screening Committee in the process. And we wrote a whole process back then of how to establish who's going to be on it, what's going to be on it, and basically who was involved. I was the chair at the time, and then I was a member because I got reelected back in 2010. And then basically, it goes through the whole process. There's a whole process here. It gives you the job description, appointment process for the advisory board members, the mission of statement for the advisory selection committee, preliminary application review process, the final application review rating process, then the superintendent interviews the selection process by the Board of Public Works. And so this, and then it spells it all out, where we advertised it, what we're doing, who's included, and
where you advertise the job,
where you advertise the job.
okay,
Where we advertise, well, we'll go through it. It's, we advertised it back then, in 2011, is the Sunday Boston Globe, the Patriot Ledger, and local weekly newspapers. Now,
Yours must be an online, this is
well,
now an online
that was
thing,
2011, that was 12 years ago.
Right,
So now we would add, to update this, and we have a discussion on the update, because this is a, a board effort, is that we probably should go on to LinkedIn, advertise on LinkedIn. I think there's a component that you can do that.
American Public Works.
Public Works,
New England Public Works.
Mass Municipal Association.
Mass Municipal.
So we could advertise as it has through that, and then we need to appoint. Back then we had 5 members, and one member was the appointed as the ex facto, which is the chair. So basically, I'm going through exactly what we did, how we did it, and who was involved, so that we can review it. So that we're not just throwing people's names out there, we have a process that we need to go through. And who was involved, so this
well,
is
but
the-
we're having 6, we had
Well-
talked about that.
Well, I had discussed that, let's talk about the members. we need this, well, back in 11, we had members of other boards, other department heads, ex facto town official, a DPW director or superintendent from a neighboring community. Person's knowledge is with DPW, engineering, and public administration and finance. So that was what was back then. And then we basically went through and asked people to send their resumes in, and the board reviewed them in order to come up with the selection committee.
Okay,
So then we go through and we do them. Then we meet with that group after we select them. We give them a 3-month window to go through the screening, and basically we go through the mission statement, what the selection process is, what their qualifications are, and go through. They have to do confidentiality requirements, public open meeting law when they interview somebody. They got to do background checks with reference checks, and goes through. And the bottom line is, here's the appointment process on the next page. And this is what we did. So what I'm saying is that if he doesn't want to appoint 6 people, there's a process. We should have a process of who should be on that process. And that was what I was trying to drive at before, that each board member selects one person, and then we have somebody from HR, town council, the advisory board, and someone representative from town administrator's office. And that's what I was trying to come up with, the 7 before. But I didn't have the luxury of having this history all in writing when I made that up. So we can have a discussion. I want to have full truth and how we did it, and back then we went through 3 superintendents, because it's the 3rd time before Tom got selected, and we really hammered this out. So I think we should use what the knowledge that we gained from the first superintendent was Walter Fendon and Jeb DeLoach, to have an interim superintendent, and then 2007 Dave Carrier, and then again we really hammered this out as far as having a formal process back in 2010-11 to make sure it was fair and equitable, and then basically this is the process, and I think we should follow the same.
I appreciate this work, and I agree with everything up till this point, because we don't have that kind of time. Tom's leaving in October, and this advisory committee needs to be appointed and get to work, or we're not going to have a superintendent. And if we have an interim superintendent, that's going to take forever to choose that person. And then they're going to get involved in projects. They're not going to be able to be writing grants because they're going to have their job's going to be taken over by the permanent person that we hire. It's going to hold up the whole department. It's going to hold up all the projects. There's not going to be any cohesiveness in the department. So I think that your first idea, where we all have 2 picks.
No, I never said 2 picks.
Well,
I never
we're
said
gonna-
2 picks.
we're gonna
Yeah,
have-
you said it was a 6-person committee. We all have 2 picks.
What we really need to have is, number 1, we need to have an HR person.
Wait a minute, let's just.
Okay, so hold on a second.
Just-
Oh,
What I'm saying,
Go
okay.
ahead.
I
You
wanted
go
to
ahead.
finish what I was
Okay.
saying.
Don't start, go ahead, go.
I wanted to finish what I was
Okay,
saying.
go ahead. I'll-
So I really recall clearly that we talked about, it was a 6-person committee. We each have 2 choices of who to pick. I wasn't clear on, do we get our 2 choices, or are we voting against each other on our 2 choices? Because that's just a disaster waiting to happen. And you had talked about wanting to have town council and town administrator on the committee, which I don't necessarily agree with, but if those are the 2 people you pick, those are the 2 people you pick. So I assume that we each have our 2 picks and we don't start arguing and fighting about it, otherwise this is never gonna happen. So I don't agree with an interim superintendent unless we're forced into that position. I don't agree with a 3-month waiting period for this committee, or having people apply, because honestly, the town is advertising every single week for open spots on committees and boards that aren't being filled. So why do we think people are gonna come begging for us to join this committee when they can't get any of the other committees filled? People aren't doing it. So we need to move on this. I know who my 2 picks are, and I feel very strongly about choosing a resident because, as you probably are well aware, I feel very strongly about respecting the residents of Marshfield. And so I've chosen as one of my picks a resident who's extremely qualified. And then my other pick is Andrew Stewart, the building commissioner, who is extremely qualified and who's agreed to do it. And my resident pick is a resident of Marshfield, who's been a resident for 11 years. He's been on the trail committee in the past. He's been on a committee to, he's a school teacher in the City of Boston school system. He's been on these types of committees to fill positions in other towns. And he's got excellent qualifications. He's an active member of town meeting and, an active member of Marshfield, and is very willing to be on this committee. And I have approached other residents who, none of which are friends of mine, but who have come before the board at different times, or I've seen at town meeting, or I've seen at other board meetings, and I thought were intelligent and well-spoken, and, looked at their information and saw that they were professional people and interested in people who have been on several different, committees in the past in Marshfield, and none of them are interested in doing it. People are not begging to do this.
So,
So I was like jumping for joy when somebody actually agreed.
so can we have a conversation on this, or?
Yeah, that's what I have to say about it.
So my focus was that we advertise it, it's gonna be advertised for several weeks to a month.
At least 3.
For the committee?
No,
Or- You're talking,
No,
so
we're
I'm talking
talking-
about the committee to choose.
I know, I get that.
We're talking about the selection of the committee.
No, right now I'm talking about, if we take the advertisement today.
Okay, you're talking about for the position,
Agree
right?
with it today. Tom can and also the description of the job,
Mhm.
hands it to HR. HR is gonna take at least a month before we start getting resumes in. So we have between now and another month in order to put a committee together.
Well, then we're screwed because
No,
he's
no.
leaving in October. Why is it gonna take a month for people to apply for this position? I don't think that's
We-
probably accurate.
Well, if we can get this out, if we can agree on the job posting,
I agree on the job
we
posting.
can put that out tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, we agree on that.
And we can put it in all the periodics, the New England Public Works, American Public Works, MMA. Those are the 3 big ones that you're gonna attract the people in the business. And so I think getting that out right away
Yes,
is key.
yes.
Right.
Good.
So that's the first step. Second step is that we need to come up with, and if it's a building commissioner, in the evaluation, it says other department heads. So that would fall
Can we
within.
just step back for a minute?
Sure.
And through the chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we vote then on the posting first
And the description.
and the job description? And then that way, that can be posted tomorrow, we can start the process.
Fine. We'll make a motion to accept the job description as is written.
And the evaluate, and the,
Wait a minute.
and the job, the
Job
advertisement
posting.
and the description.
Job description and the posting.
Right.
Right, for the superintendent's position.
Right.
Yeah, I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0.
I think that's a great
Alright.
job.
So
So we
we got that done.
Yeah.
Second is that we need to talk about the selection, the appointment process of the selection committee. All right? Since it's recommended that we can get members of other boards, other department heads, a town official to be the chair of it, somebody who's really a DPW director, maybe a neighboring town or something, a person's knowledgeable of DPW, engineering and public works, public administration and finance, that's sort of the umbrella. Now, if you have two picks that you want to do that and they fall within that, even, you know, and you said that one is a department head, which is perfect, correct?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought we,
Yeah, so-
it was specifically
so-
told
so-
that we
yeah,
all
then you
had
could-
two picks.
Well, no, John probably told you they had two picks. I recommended.
No,
one.
I'm sure it came from you.
Well,
No,
we
I
can
know.
have, we
No, I
can
didn't.
have
No,
two,
no.
we can have two picks.
So,
It's
so
not, it's
so
not.
recommended is that whoever the picks are should have experience with, you know, finance, DPW, public administration, grant writing.
I don't
that
think
kind of
that's possible, Bob. We don't have a year to fill this position.
Right,
I-
also, if I can, right now, Whitman, Randolph, Holbrook, Duxbury, Marshfield, and possibly Kingston are all opening up by the end of October.
Exactly.
There's 6 jobs that
So,
we want to get out as
So-
quickly
yeah,
as
so-
So are
Right,
you,
we can't-
so are you
we
saying
can't
that you
get
don't want to
that
have a
posted.
screening committee at all?
No,
no
I
screening.
think we need a screening committee because I don't think we can, I'm hoping we're gonna get a lot of applicants, but what if we might not get, who knows what, if we're gonna even get any.
I
But
know,
I don't
I
think-
know at least 4 who have told me they've thrown their name in.
Okay, that's good
So let's
to
go for
know.
the search committee and move on.
I think we need to have the search committee. I think we can agree, I think we can all take
You-
our picks
You had your picks.
and we could just create a search committee
Yeah, right. You-
and not get involved in all this red tape to have search committee people apply to us to be on the committee when this town is begging for people to be on committees. Where do we think in the universe that we're gonna have that happen? It's not gonna happen. We'll end up with no committee.
Right.
And 2 months from now, we'll have no committee and no superintendent.
So let's move on. You picked Andrew Stewart and who's the
And
other?
then- So,
Are you going to have, are you gonna vote to give
Yeah, we're
everyone
gonna
2
have a
picks?
search, yeah, we're gonna have a search committee of 2 of us.
Okay,
We're gonna have, each board member picks 2.
Plus, we need HR.
I understand in a perfect world,
No,
this
but-
is a great idea,
Wait-
but
wait
we
a
don't
minute,
have
wait a
that
minute.
world.
Each
I'm
committee,
sorry.
we're gonna vote that each individual board member has 2 picks.
Mhm.
I'm making a motion.
Okay, I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, we take, I'm gonna amend that. I think we need to have HR
No.
be on
no.
the, wait a second.
No.
Hear me out. Don't come out, John.
Well, just let him finish.
Just let me
him
finish. We need HR to actually do the background checks.
Okay, but isn't that?
The people on the committee don't do the background checks. We
They're
need
gonna-
HR to do
You
that.
Right,
need-
but that's a separate
you
job.
need HR to post the job,
Well, they're gonna do that anyhow,
and take
Tom.
the resumes.
They're gonna do that anyhow.
No,
And, yeah, so we need to tell them what they are gonna do.
no, they have to be on the committee.
She should be a member, even if she doesn't have a vote, she should be on the committee so that she can conduct all of those. She has to do background checks, she has to do query checks, she has to accept the resumes, she has to screen the resumes. There's a lot to be done by that individual.
So she's like an accessory to the committee, and those are all her duties.
She should be the one that's responsible for the posting, for all the resumes are gonna come through her, all right? And when you put your screening committee together and you narrow down your candidate, she'll need to do the background checks, the query checks, and all of that.
Right.
Okay,
So she's like an accessory
Make it-
to the committee So we can
No, she
have
has to
the
be on the
6th.
committee in order to do that.
Well,
Can I
Bob,
finish,
what-
please?
Diane, Bob, why don't you select the H&R person?
No.
But I have,
That person has to be, no.
can,
I can select 2 people, but it's not gonna be the HR person.
Okay.
You know, if,
It doesn't make
if
sense.
say, if everyone's picking 2 people, so it's 6, maybe the HR person is the 7th individual.
All right,
And then and now you've got an odd number.
right.
So if you come down to a tie, that 7th vote breaks the tie.
Okay, so we can make I'll make a motion that we appoint to the selection committee the H&R Director, Mrs. Kerrigan, as the advisory.
No, she should be the 7th person.
7th person.
7th person.
and she knows, she's okay to do this, of
So-
course,
Yeah.
because it's her
You want
job,
it-
right?
Right.
Okay.
You want to second that?
Second.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
I'm
Aye.
okay.
That's 3-0. Okay, so now we have, my selections are, I talked to him, Greg Emon, he's a department head, and Tom Reynolds.
Tom Reynolds can't be on it.
I mean, we can do whatever we want. It's
Do
our,
whatever. Why do you say he can't be? I accept, if Tom doesn't want to be on there, he can say no, but
do
I.
you not want to be on this?
I wouldn't mind being
All
on
right,
it.
I support you
I-
on there, I would pick you
Yeah,
myself.
I select you, Tom.
Thank
Reynolds.
you.
Okay. Tom Reynolds and Greggy, I talked to Greg, he said fine.
Okay, so I have Andrew Stewart, who's agreed, and then my resident, choice is, Chris Kalos. I don't know how much information you need, but I'll give you everything I have. He lives at 11 Parsons Walk. He's been a resident of Marshfield since 2011. He was a Recreation Trails Committee member from 2014 to 16. His 3 children graduated from Marshfield Public School System. He was on the Hull hiring committee for the athletic director and community coordinator position 2010. He's a Massachusetts education special education teacher in the Boston Public Schools since 1991. And he was an elected town meeting member in Milton before he was in Marshfield.
What's his name again?
Chris, CHRIS, CALOS. ALOS.
Oh, Chris Carlos.
Yeah. And he's very happy and willing to serve on this committee, which was not my experience with any of the other people I asked.
Really?
But I do, yes. And they were people who had been on previous committees and commissions in Marshfield in the past. So I'm very, cognizant of having people that have experience in this kind of thing, and are also a resident. So it really was not easy to do that, but I feel strongly about having a resident on it. So those are my 2.
Okay? So we have 2 more.
So your 2.
Yeah, my 2, town council, who was on the committee before. Bob Mazzelli was the ex facto in the previous meeting, his town council. And then that would,
Say that again? I didn't.
Bob Mazzelli was town council at the time. So.
Oh, you're
So-
not picking him now.
No,
Okay,
no,
I
he's
was
not, no,
confused
not
by
picking him
that.
now. So
Okay.
I'm asking town council,
Bob Galvin.
Bob Galvin.
And is he willing to do it?
Yeah, I talked to
Okay.
him. He's as the ex facto.
What does that mean?
He's a chair.
Okay,
Well, wait a
well,
minute.
I think we should vote on who's the
Okay,
chair.
we just don't even, we won't say that yet, okay, we're gonna,
Yeah.
then we'd either have, who is our representative from the advisory committee that deals with the DPW?
Don McAleer.
Now, is he still doing it though?
He is. Johnny McAleer is still doing it, and Sherry Costello and Paul, I think of Paul's last name.
Sullivan?
No, it's not Paul
He
Sullivan.
used to be.
Yeah, Paul's not on the.
Yeah, okay.
Anymore.
So my second choice would be Mike Maresco first, and whoever's the representative from the advisory board as an alternate,
Why an alternate?
just in case Mike Maresco doesn't want to do it.
Oh, you didn't ask him?
I did, but he might change his mind.
So you got two picks.
I mean, can you just pick one?
Not Mike Maresco.
I like the advisory, I know it's your pick, I'm just saying, I like the advisory board person first, much more than town administrator, who I think has way too much on his plate anyway. And has been pretty clearly in opposition to this board, in other areas. So I think the advisory board person is a better pick because they're, kind of directly involved with the funding, and as we just saw
So
in
that's
town
why,
meeting.
that's why, well, okay.
But that's just my
Yeah,
opinion, I mean, it's
yeah.
your
So-
pick, I'm just saying what I feel.
What picks does Bob
Bob
have?
has Bob Galvin and Mike Maresco. If Maresco turns it down, then it will be Don McAleer.
Okay,
Do you want to vote that as the search committee?
yeah, sure.
Those 6 names?
7.
7 HR.
Yeah, 7 HR.
And she's a tiebreaker. So
Yeah.
she's not voting unless there's a tie. Right?
I don't know, do we just make her a voting member so you have an odd number?
Yeah, just make a vote, I would rather,
Yeah,
draw a
make a
number.
Make it, and then that way,
I don't know, because I don't know these people, so it's hard for me to, I mean, I know some of them, but I don't know her.
I mean,
So,
she handles all the postings of jobs, and she does all the
Yeah.
background checks, she does all of that.
Right.
That's her daily job duties.
I mean, are they typically an odd number of,
Well, I mean, if it's a tiebreaker, and usually a committee, when you make up a committee that's gonna vote on something, it's an odd number. We have
Okay.
a 3-member
Yeah.
here.
right,
I mean, you got 50 senators, right?
Right.
100 senators, then you got the vice
Vice
president.
president is the tiebreaker.
okay.
So we'll put her on the board just as a member,
Yeah,
as a voting member.
As a voting
Is
member.
it all right?
Okay, all right,
All
yeah,
right.
that's fine.
So, Tom, you want to read those and we'll just.
Okay, so the motion on the table would be to appoint a search committee that consists of Danielle Kerrigan from HR, Greg Guimond from the planning board, Andrew Stewart from the building department, Bob Galvin, the town council, Mike Maresco, the town administrator, Chris Carlos, and Tom Reynolds, to make the 7.
Fine.
okay,
Ask for a second on that motion.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
aye.
3-0, okay.
So then the valuation, this is the valuation that we had the select.
Well, before you move on to that, I have a question. So does this committee have a chairman? Does it have to have a chairman? Do we need to figure that out right now?
You could appoint a chairman, or we could, when we first meet, we could
You could make
elect
one.
one
Yeah, that amongst
Fine.
the, yeah. the
amongst
search
the
committee.
7 of us.
Okay.
Let the 7.
However you
collect.
want to do it.
Okay,
I would like to appoint a chairman. I don't know why, if the HR person is the person who's receiving all the information in the first place, would it make sense to have her be the chairman or not?
No.
Not,
no,
wouldn't be.
no.
No, she's the center point that's gonna collect everything. So when we mail everything to the town of Marshfield, it's going to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll make copies, she'll issue them to us, packages of all the applicants. And, and then once we start to hold meetings and you break down, if you go, say we have 10 applicants, and you break it to 5, and then you break it to 3.
And then we
And
interview the three.
you interview the 3.
Right.
Okay,
So how do we want to select the chair? What's the feeling on the chair?
I don't know, what do you
no, I think that the committee should select the chair.
We could do that, we could hold a meeting of everyone and hold it unless you wanna. It's your choice here.
Sometimes if we select the chair, they might they might say that they don't wanna be the chair.
Yeah, I think it would
That's
just,
a good point.
Yeah.
we still have,
So then that was
if we
true.
advertise it tomorrow, we still have, 3 weeks to figure all this out. And then actually, the selection committee can meet between now and 3 weeks before they even get the resumes
So
in.
they have to be sworn in by Nerese, I think.
I don't know.
They can-
I'll find that out tomorrow. Were you,
Or the
was the
selectmen.
previous committee sworn in?
I know, I gave you all the documents, it's in the package.
Okay, I'll look through
I wanna
it.
make sure it's a similar type of process that we're doing,
Who
Yeah,
chooses when the meetings are gonna be?
the committee.
the committee.
So how do they have a meeting to choose when the meetings are gonna be?
Well,
Like,
I mean,
somebody has to set up that
I
first one,
could-
right? Yeah,
Where I'm on the committee, I could set it up, we could have it here.
right, okay, so
We
you'll
could
set up
hold
the
it
first.
here, I could set it up, I'll reach out, to set something up and,
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll give you the email address for the resident, so you probably can have all
Sure.
of the others. So I'll give you that off video.
So
I'm
then,
not sharing
the
that
appointment
with the world.
process, I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
That's okay. I was
The
done.
appointment process, which I'm not gonna do, it says, "The chairman of the Board of Public Works shall appoint the chairman of the advisory selection review group." I don't agree with that, so,
you don't want to appoint them,
no,
Is that-
you guys are gonna appoint him.
okay, yeah.
Oh, it says in there that you
Yeah,
appoint the chair?
Yeah, but.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, but-
appoint the
Right,
chairman, and
we
you don't
got
want.
seven. We let the 7 members decide who they want for the chair. Because if we say, or I say, I want so-and-so as the chair, and then that person turns around and says, I don't want to be the chair. Now we're kind of back to square one.
Yeah.
And you can kind of, in the first meeting, you'll
I
kind
can
of direct
facilitate-
that
I can
process.
facilitate
Yeah,
and that would be the first order of business would be to appoint a chairman
yeah, yeah.
and ground rules
It's
and all
a,
that.
that first meeting is public. The reason I say that is, I went to the Conservation Selection Committee meeting, where they were selected to select, or get the resumes for a new conservation agent, and they talked about a chair, so they
Oh,
selected a chair the first meeting. The rest of the meetings are not, they're not for the public.
oh, okay, so you
Because obviously someone applies, it's a public meeting, then that person's direct supervisors will know that they're.
right,
Right.
Oh, right.
right.
So the first meeting is where you select the chair and the clerk and whatever else, and then the rest of the meetings are executive.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay.
And they're discussing people's,
Yeah.
Right. so you-
Information
yeah,
and-
it's confidential
Right,
stuff.
so that's what they discussed, that
Yeah, and to have 2 members of the board, we would have to have a public meeting every time we met if you were on there.
Yeah.
And a lot of these applicants, at least the first round, don't want their names released that
Correct.
they're
right, because they're
applying.
still working for a town.
Correct.
Or a company,
Exactly.
wherever they're doing. Right.
That's correct. Okay, so
Okay.
we're taking that, let's move on.
I
So-
appreciate all the work you
wait.
put into this.
So,
and,
in
I
here,
do.
the committee will use these rating sheets that we had used before.
Yeah.
And then the board will actually use the last 2 so that they can do the screen, and it's all documented.
Where are we now?
The last 4
Which-
pages of all of it.
Yeah, that's all the ratings.
Oh, right here.
Right.
Ground rules and all that.
Okay.
Right. And I didn't do this in a vacuum. I had co-conspirators on this. Anne Marie helped me, Tom Reynolds helped me,
Great.
and other people have helped me.
That's nice. I appreciate it.
So it was a team effort on our part, all DPW people.
Good. How often do,
Tom,
I
you
had a
also
question in my
have
head and I don't know, I
others?
can't remember what it was now. I had a question in my
What's
head.
Lost your train of thought?
Yes.
That happens to me more frequently now.
So,
Yeah.
all right, we're all set on that. Let's move on to number 2, DPW event service account. We finally got an account.
Yes.
Ooh.
Diane had asked me to put this on the agenda.
Oh, Ian, but.
Diane did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's Diane.
And so
I
Ann
thought you said
Bastille,
Ian. I thought you said Ian.
Ann Bastille, the treasurer, the accountant,
Oh, nothing.
they set up two accounts. One is a DPW detail surcharge account, and that would be like if we had a 15% administrative fee,
Okay.
that money would go in there. The DPW detail account is also set up, and we work the Levitate concert. So what we've done is we put a $55 an hour for employees used as the rate that we're being charged, that we're charging. And then the vehicles are $75 an hour. So we're looking at just a little over $150 an hour for this work. We worked a total of, on Friday, July 7th, there was 3 trucks for 4 hours total. There was 3 men for 27 hours total. Saturday, July 8th, there was 4 hours for the 3 trucks again, 27 hours for the 3 men. And Sunday, the 9th, 4 hours for 3 trucks and 3 men at 27 hours.
What were they doing exactly?
They're doing traffic setups.
Okay,
So
with the cones and all of
cones and
that.
sawhorses, closing off the roads, and then they only use the charge for the trucks when they're setting up and breaking down, and then it's the hourly rate for the 3 guys during the event.
Okay.
So that's how we do it.
Okay.
So we do have an account set up. That $55 an hour is the top rate for the safety foreman. So I charge that across the board for everybody, so that factors in that percentage for the benefits that we talked
Overhead.
about.
Okay, yeah.
The
The
overhead.
35%.
Right.
Okay.
So we factored that into that. There was no rubbish pickup during the Levitate concert. All the rubbish was inside, was the responsibility of Levitate, and the parking lots were cleaned up by the people that ran the parking lots.
Perfect.
So we didn't have to.
That's great.
So, but I have a price for the rubbish truck. I think it's $125 for the rubbish truck per hour, and it's the same rate as the laborers, and that would be 2 people on a rubbish truck.
And that would be used like for Marshfield Fair?
That
Because
would be-
those-
Well, it would be used for the concerts more so than the Marshfield Fair. Because the fair, the parking areas are run by the school groups. They pick up all their own rubbish. So we won't have to. The only venues that we'll need to maybe pick rubbish up in would be the concerts. But if the Boys and Girls Club are doing it, they pick up their own rubbish.
So while trash barrels are there in those
Yes.
parking lots, do they empty those trash barrels and then take,
They take the
Bags
bags out of them
okay.
and they
then-
haul it off themselves.
Oh, okay, they do.
So our people didn't have to do any rubbish.
Okay.
Should we charge them for the solid waste cost?
Well, they take it themselves, either back to their own dumpster, or they take it up to the.
No, if we used solid waste,
We would
weigh it and. charge-
weigh it, the
charge
tonnage and all that,
Okay.
right, yeah.
When you say concerts, what other concerts are there? I feel like I'm
There's
missing
Flannel
out on something.
Fest, there's
Oh, the flannel
Fiddle
one, right.
Fest, There's,
Right.
they have the country western, they have the
Oh, I
Irish,
definitely want to miss that one.
They have the Irish
And that one.
music.
I missed that one too.
Yeah, so they have a couple, and there's more and more.
Yeah,
And there's road races now
yeah.
that pop up all the time.
Mhm.
So those are, I guess, the issues that, we have to be able to get reimbursed for.
Right, so any events,
Any-
all events that the
Right.
DPW is gonna support. And what's the difference between you may have explained this, I'm sorry, the surcharge and the details? There's 2 separate
The
accounts.
surcharge is if we charge an administrative fee on top of our, like if we charge a 15% administrative fee, of the total bill.
Because an event is just super complicated to coordinate, or what would be the reason for that?
Yeah, it would
Counting
just be our time of developing the bill,
Right,
and, you know, it's,
an
I don't
overhead.
see us using it, to be honest with you.
but it's an
The
overhead.
police do it.
Right, the police
The
do.
police have an administrative charge when they do the detail of like $60 an hour, and then they add
They
X
had
percentage.
15% to it.
Is it 15%?
I'm pretty sure it
So
is.
So it's good that that's there, because we really have no idea how complicated events are gonna become. I mean, Levitate's a pretty complicated event, but it could
It
really,
gives us an avenue down the road that if there's another fee that we could add, whether it's an administrative fee or maybe the benefits go up a little bit and we need to add more to cover that.
okay,
That surcharge, that additional money would go into that
okay,
account.
all right,
So my plan is to try to build this account, the detail account, up a little bit as we go forward, so that we had to wait a couple of weeks for the check to come from Levitate in order to pay the guys. So if each one of these functions, we have a little money left over, it stays in that account, that helps us down the road with, we've got a balance in the account that we can pay.
right, because they can get paid in their next
Right.
paycheck
It
instead of
will-
waiting
yeah,
for 3 weeks.
Instead of having to wait,
Okay,
yeah.
right.
But
And,
then again, also, we can pay out of the overtime now that we have an account number, and then we could transfer it back
into it,
into, from this account into our overtime account.
okay. And then, for any trash in future accounts, that has to be paid to into the,
Solid waste.
solid waste.
Right,
Their whole system,
so, yeah,
out of this account.
well, we have a retained earnings account there, so the
So it
monies
would
that
go
we
into
get
that.
would go into that.
It would go into that,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
All
okay,
right, sounds good. All
okay.
right, thanks, Tom.
thank you.
All right, so now
I'm
we're
glad
on
that got
to
done.
superintendent's report.
Well, special town meeting draft articles.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There is
yeah.
only one article that we are asking for. And I sent an email today to the town administrator explaining what we were doing. We received a letter today of our award for complete streets. $499,997.15.
Yeah.
We received today.
Mm-hmm, good timing.
So they're looking at a notice to proceed somewhere around the 1st of November with a construction finalization date of December 31st, 2025. So what we need to do, and I had asked, we're gonna submit an article. The town will have to bond the $499,997. It's reimbursable, so they'll have to bond that. I am asking them for $250,000, and then we'll match it with $250,000 from Chapter 90.
So that will give us the $1 million of Grant Rock?
That will give us the price is $999,997 is the cost of the project. It's under the $1 million.
For the first phase.
For the first phase. There is also in the new budget, $100 million for roads and bridges that we will pursue for phase 2 and complete the whole project. So I haven't got the parameters of that new program yet. It's what delayed the budget from being passed because the Senate, this was added by the Senate. So their Concom went back and forth. They finally released it, I think, 2 weeks ago. The budget was released.
That's why the Senate
Yeah.
President had said on the news report today, sometimes it's better to wait.
Yeah, so this additional $100 million, I think they talked about maybe using the same formula that we used for Chapter 90, but there may be a few tweaks to it so that some of the more rural communities have, they don't get a lot of money because they don't have a lot of accepted roadways.
Right, that's the problem, that's probably why they
And
Yeah.
one of the things with the Senate is they say they don't spend their money. Well, it might take them 5 years to build up the kitty to afford the job they need to do.
Right.
They may have $1 million culvert, and they only get $200,000 a year. So they got a pretty good weight to get to that million, in order to do $1 million project. And so that's, they're tweaking the formula somewhat so everyone gets their fair share. So I think that's important. We're always trying to tweak that formula so we get more money. But that's pretty much it with the article. That's the only one.
Okay.
How do you think it'll, I mean, how do you think it's gonna go? Like, do you think it'll
Well-
even get on the warrant?
I'm hoping. We will be getting $50,000 in free cash to go back into our equipment maintenance personnel line. $175,000 for roads, $70,000 for dirt roads, and there's another 50,000, and I asked for 30 for those lights.
Okay.
I mean, the 70,000 for unpaved roads, that's every year, but it doesn't always get passed.
We haven't got it in a while. So it's back, he's given it to us this year. He may have gave us some last year too. But these are the things that we were promised after the annual. There was things that we asked for at the annual and they asked us to wait till the fall.
Yeah.
So that's what this is.
Yeah.
And then we were gonna go back for the lining of the sewer main, but Rod wants to wait. We're getting to a point now that bigger projects are gonna be expensive for us
just
to
so-
carry.
yeah.
We have to go at some point and talk to the Board of Selectmen about
40-60 or
split.
50-50 or something.
some type of a split, because it's really getting out of hand now
On the sewer.
on the sewer side. Everything else is pretty good.
Right.
Sewer is our biggest issue.
Right, and Rod made a document that says, what's the benefit of the town for sharing?
Right, right. So that, at some point in the near future, we should try to approach the Board of Selectmen with a joint meeting to have this discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they were willing to listen to us last year, so it's just getting that meeting with that board, moving ahead.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
you.
So we're going to go into your report.
Yes, Hills Playground update. The playground has been installed, the wood chips are in. This week we'll be building the ramp down to the playground itself. It will be handicap accessible. We'll put the grass mats down around the perimeter on the wood chips so that they can access the handicap swing. We'll put a handicap picnic table down in the back corner. There's a transition point where you can climb on to the apparatus that will be handicap accessible. So that's all in the process now. I do have some pictures that I've taken at different phases of this. It really came out, there was a little bit more work to be done there because of what we didn't see. It was pretty wet. We had to remove a whole lot of wood chips. We had to take gravel, stone out. We had to bring a lot of gravel in to build it back up. So it was a little bit more than we anticipated, but we were able to get it in. The neighbors, just the ones that have come by while we were doing it, are ecstatic.
I'm sure.
And I'd like to have at some point maybe a little ribbon cutting ceremony and have the board there and say hello to the neighbors.
Nice.
That'd be nice.
So I'm thinking a couple of weeks we might be able to do that. Surf Ave construction. The construction of the water main and drainage system on Surf Ave continues. After the end of last week, the water main has been completed from Ocean Street to Wrexham Road. The section of water main from Hartford to Ocean has previously been tested, the temporary bypass has been disconnected and partially removed, and service connections were established. The section from Hartford to Wrexham passed its pressure test last week and was chlorinated over the weekend. It will be flushed this week and tested while the contractor continues the drainage system construction. The contractor's goal will be to begin the service connections once the water main passes its tests. Provided the tests pass, the contractor is on pace to begin substantially complete by Labor Day. All drainage, water, and sewer done, everyone hooked up to new water and temporary bypass removed. Paving of the base course will take place soon thereafter.
Okay.
Oh, it'd be nice.
Yes.
It's over.
Central Ave emergency sewer main work.
Yeah.
That was one of the areas that we had asked for that money to do that sewer replacement, because a lot of it's sitting in marsh. The whole bottom of the pipe was gone. There was a lot of debris in the pipe. We were able to make a connection, get underneath the culvert and make the connection.
Right.
And then that was finished up by the end of last week, and then we had a water service leak right on top of where we just put
Oh,
Yeah.
the sewer main in. It was just a hose bib that goes to the pump station for them to use, a little hose. So we were able to fix that, so there's another patch there that will have to be addressed. Hills Sidewalk Phase 2, that's the match line that we left off at Highland and Old Main, right in that intersection there. So we're, that will be started sometime in the fall, and then we will do the sidewalk, put a berm curb in from where the match line is up to the fire station, and then we will pave from the match line all the way to 3A of Old Main Street. We'll mill and pave up there. Right now, we got a price to pave out here, the top coat on our parking lot out here, but we have to wait because of the solar installation. There's another bank of conduit that has to run across, and I'm not gonna pave and then have them cut it up to
Yeah.
put that in. So, we have a meeting on Wednesday with the building committee. We do have our temporary occupancy permit, but they don't want us storing any vehicles inside, this vehicle storage, because the NOx and the CO2 sensors aren't connected to the internet. So they've asked if we can wait until that, and we're waiting on IT, the contractor, our conduit's in. They've got to come in and run the fiber from this building over there, and that's required to tie in the NOx and the CO2. So that can be broadcast to the fire station over the internet. And then we're assigning lockers now for the employees in there to try to get them out of the trailers, so we can send those office trailers back. It's about $5,000 a month for each one of those, so we want to get those back. But Ferry Street is scheduled to be paved from Blueberry to Telegraph.
wow.
So, and then whatever balances we have in Chapter 90, we'll be looking at some other areas to pave. But that's
it.
pretty much it.
Good.
So about the committee meeting, not that I wouldn't, be happy to help and be on it. I didn't have the ability to commit to that, so, but nobody asked me to be on the committee, they just put me on it.
Yeah. What committee?
The building committee.
Oh, the building. Oh, no. We needed a rep from the board, because Dave was the rep on the
Right.
building committee. And we needed
Somebody
another
to
board
sign.
member for signing.
For signing, okay.
That was really all.
Just for signing.
And because I know Wednesdays is very difficult for you in
I
the
can do it
morning.
if you want.
Yeah, Well, yeah, so if you want somebody at that meeting,
Yeah.
maybe Bob or John
Okay.
could go
I
to
could
the
do it,
meeting.
John.
In a minute.
Instead of me,
It'll be
because I
all
can't
done
go
in a
Wednesday
minute.
morning.
He
Okay.
doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, so
We'll be all done.
do,
I mean, not that I don't have any interest in going to them. I would be interested in going, but I can't.
there's not gonna be that many more.
I know, I
You
should
know?
try to get to
Almost done,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm
We
sad
have,
that I missed the whole, I feel like I missed a party, but.
No, not yet, not yet. No, my plan is that sometime middle of September, we should have everything in place, and that's kinda when I'm looking at moving in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
You know, so I would like to have a ribbon cutting ceremony and, once we can put the trucks in there. I have to paint the floor, I wanna get the bays painted, so I have the stalls for each truck.
right.
So, we're working on getting that done.
Oh, okay.
Good.
I'll email you because I am gonna be away for a few days in September, right in the middle, but I'll email you so you know.
Okay.
All right, that's it.
Good, so I didn't look at your response. I did send you an email about,
On the pothole, that's
yeah,
state highway.
Marine Street, I think,
State
was it
highway.
Marine Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's state highway,
Oh,
that's not our jurisdiction.
that was your response. I
Yeah.
never even looked at it. Okay,
Yeah, that's part of the state highway system, so
right.
they stop 139, they go right onto 3A. And then 139 is an M route all the way back to where it connects over to the rotary to get on the highway.
So what do they do about that? What's the suggestion
There's an
for-
800 number you can call
Mhm.
that goes, they'll pick it up, it's a pothole hotline, and they're required to respond within 48 hours.
Did you send that to me in your response?
I did not send you that, I will get you, I don't know, I will send
Yeah,
it to you.
just email it to me and
It's
I'll
TOC,
forward it.
It's an 800 number.
Okay.
It's, TOC it's called.
Okay, all right.
Operations
Yeah, if you can
Control
send that to me, I'll forward it
Transportation
to the
Operations
president.
Center,
Okay,
that's what it is.
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Oh, I don't want to.
Oh. you wanna leave? You wanna stay?
You can
All
stay
right.
if you want, Bobby, sleep here if you want. Do I hear a
I've done
second?
that.
Do I hear a
Second, I said
All in
second.
favor?
I don't want to go home. I
Aye.
had too much fun.
It is so much fun.
Okay, so-
Okay, Annie.